Self-care isn't a one-size-fits-all. In fact, it's as unique as you are. Today, we are joined by Laverne Turner-Manuel to explore Self-Care 2.0, a fresh take on what it really means to nurture yourself. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Back in the day, there were certain ways and means what self-care represents to people or what they think it should be. And I think where you are in the lifestyle that you live now, the 2.0 version of it, you found different ways of getting the same result.
Absolutely. So I think that self-care is something personal. There is no, as you said before, one size fits all, because it isn't. What might be self-care for me might not mean the same thing for you. So I think it's just about finding what works for you, mind, body, and soul, that I think we should implement in our lives.
And as you know, I think it's just a habit of everyone. The moment the year starts, everyone gets out the list.
Yeah.
What are we doing for 2025? And usually self-care is at the top of that list, but do we ever stick to that? Which I think some people find very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And so over the years, you've obviously gotten some insight and little anecdotes of what could we do for 2025 to take us forward with self-care habits. I know sleep is one of the things that's extremely important.
Absolutely. I think over the last few years, the buzzword was always mental health. So I think when it comes to self-care, that is very important, because ultimately self-care starts in the mind. And I always say, when you've made the decision to be better or live better, it has to start in the mind. And that's why mental wellness is so important. And I think sleep, definitely, as you say, is one of it. I think we underestimate the power of sleep. Because what a lot of people don't remember is that everything regenerates when you sleep. So I do think that sleep is underrated, absolutely. Unfortunately, in the age of social media, we tend to sit on our phones like right through the night. So I think being able to set a time for rest is so vital. Rest is, I've actually read something recently that said, rest is just as productive. I would say even more than anything else, rest is extremely productive. Drinking enough water, spending time with people that are good for your mental fitness is vital. You know, you can literally leave feeling like a brand new person just by being in the right company and sharing the right space with people.
You're giving me so many little gems throughout that, through what you just said. But I just want to go back a little bit, because you said, and one of the habits I have myself, you know, sometimes you're in bed and you can't sleep, so you just tend to scroll because it takes up the time. At the same time, we have to look at what they say, digital detoxing. I mean, what does that mean? Does it mean you must just take a break or switch off completely?
I do think taking a break, switching off for a certain time period during the day is very vital. I think we get so consumed with everything that's going on around us or in the world that it does affect you, and you don't even realize that it affects you. So I do think setting time aside, set a specific time. If it is at 10 o'clock at night that your phone goes off and you don't touch it until tomorrow morning, do that. And you'll start noticing yourself. You feel so much better when you wake up in the morning because you're not so consumed with everything that's happening around you, you know, and that does impact your sleep as well. Going to bed and the last thing you did was scrolling through what's happening around us is more toxic sometimes than we realize.
And it plays on the brain all the time, obviously.
Absolutely.
Now, earlier we had a little chat, and you were saying something so insightful about, you know, feeling good about yourself, feeling good about your body. But at the same time, you were saying, so, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean to feel good you have to go to a gym.
Definitely not. I hate the gym. I cannot stand putting my foot in the gym. So what I tend to do is I try to find things that I enjoy. I'm an outdoor girl, so even just going for a walk, putting my earphones in, listening to a really good podcast, I feel like a brand new person when I'm done there. And I usually try to do that in the mornings so that it sets the precedent for the day. I would always advise anybody to do that. If you are into just improving your life. A really good podcast and a walk can change your life tremendously.
So I think it's probably just then changing the mindset in terms of like you could get the same result, but you don't have to be confined with four walls and
Yeah.
weights. You know,
Absolutely.
as long as your body is moving, you're healing mentally,
Yeah.
changing the environment, getting fresh air, taking a walk on the promenade.
Yeah.
I think that's all things that lends itself. But now with that, I think does what you eat also play a part in self-care?
Definitely, definitely. What you put in your body to fuel your body is so important because ultimately your body takes you where you need to be. Your body is so important to be able to keep fit, to be mentally in a good space. I do think it is vital what you feel yourself. Funny enough, I had the conversation recently about people tend to think being healthy is expensive. I don't think so. I always argue with the fact that if you could spend X amount on a fast food, you can take the same amount and actually just choose wisely in what you're actually going to purchase as opposed to. So it doesn't have to be more expensive. You just make a better choice at the end of the day.
I think what you're saying now is so important to me because I think choices sets boundaries.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Definitely.
I think the Afternoon Express family is all about healing holistically, whether it be psychologically, mentally, physically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you feel that there is a negative connotation or it actually contributes to your self-care when you set boundaries for yourself,
I do.
as well as boundaries for other people to respect your space?
I do think so. Boundaries, I think, is vital, not just for you, but also those that engage with you as well. I think it's healthy because then you'll never be, people will never overstep that and it wouldn't infringe on your life. But at the same time, when you do come together and see each other, you enjoy and appreciate each other so much more if you do have boundaries in place. I think boundaries are extremely healthy. So I just think that society has made it seem so isolating or confining, you know, I'm keeping myself away from you, I've set a boundary. No, it's not. I'm doing it for you and I'm doing it for me. Because we both benefit from a boundary at the end of the day. You've got your space, I've got my space. When we see each other, it's like we never lost contact.
I see.
You know?
So they've somehow put a negative connotation to it as opposed to, I'm just taking a moment to reset.
Absolutely.
So that I can be ready for you when I see you again.
Absolutely. Perfect. That's actually the best way to put it. And going back to what you were saying about physical fitness, people tend to think that fitness is going to a gym, as we've mentioned before. And I think that mindset automatically makes you hate the gym. Like, I don't want to go to the gym because I need to go to a building where I'm doing repetitive things all the time, and I hate that. Whereas if you saw fitness as in, I'm going to kick the soccer ball with my son, for example, you'd actually have so much more appreciation for what fitness is. It's anything that gets you moving. It doesn't have to be confined to a specific thing that we think society expects it to be.
Whew. So many little gems in there, but thank you so much. I hope that you're staying with us for a little while more, but thank you again. A lot of gems. I mean, if I just touch on it and in closing, we're talking about sleeping, we are talking about nourishing the body, we are talking about detoxing, fitness in your own way, but more so setting boundaries for yourself, because all of that holistically means that is what self-care is about.
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
True self-care isn't about following trends. It's about tuning into what you really need. Remember, whether it's setting boundaries, prioritizing rest, or strengthening your support system, self-care should always work for you. After the break, Pali chats to Amapiano hitmaker Chico.